Welcome to video 1 of Inktober, where I use my ink to write words instead of creating illustrations. Coming up are the first 5 days of the challenge. If you're new here, you might be interested in checking out the explainer video where I talk about how I'm tackling Inktober. But the quick rundown is that Inktober is usually for illustrators, but I'm tackling it with word sprints instead. Without further ado, let's check out day 1. Welcome to Inktober Day 1, where I use my ink to write words instead of create illustrations. We are writing out on my back porch. It's lovely outside. I love this autumn weather. No fancy drink today, but coming soon I will be working through kind of like my tea collection. I've got some weird ones. We've got 5 minutes. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, you really can. We've got 5 minutes on the clock, and today's prompt is mustache. So let's get into it. Starting the clock now. Of course they chose to move the, like, crane thingy as I was doing that. Dang. But I got some written here. I'll probably do, like, voiceover talking about this, but to get kind of my thoughts out now for editing Jerica, the first thing that came to my mind was, of course, mustache is probably gonna have to do with a character, so what kind of people have mustaches, but I immediately switched gears when I thought of milk mustache, so I ended up writing a story about someone who, like, uh, went to, like, try a spicy food, and then it was way too spicy and they downed a glass of milk, and then their partner walks in and laughs at them for having a milk mustache. And then they're like, forget about the milk mustache, and like pleading with them, like, help me figure out how to not have my mouth on fire. I do think, like, if I choose to write something that has to do with this, I will need to go back and kind of liven up the descriptions of the spiciness that Charlie is experiencing. Um, but I don't know, like, if this is really, like, something that goes into something else, or if it's kind of just, like, a fun thing to write. But that being said, like, fun things to write can definitely turn into true story or like to like good stories, so it's possible this will turn into something. I think at the end of Inktober I will kind of go back through all of the things that I write and see what I can make of them. Unfortunately on this one my pen started to die partway through, so there's words here and up at the top of the other page, but this is dead, which means I need a new pen, because this is the pen that I've been using in my bullet journal. And I don't really like switching pens up, but I'm gonna have to get, I mean, this is the second one of this 3-pack that's gone out. I really wanted to get, they're like, you can get refills for these ones, but finding the refills for my favorite out of all of them has proven difficult for some reason. So we'll see if I get refills. There's also, like, I really like these pens. They come in a lot of cool colors. So I'm also thinking about just getting, like, a new pack of new colors. Probably one with a purple in it. This one was, like, sepia, dark brown, and then, like, a maroon, which were really nice. The maroon ended up being my favorite, even though I got the pack because of the brown ink, and I love brown ink, but this has nothing to do with Inktober anymore, so that's Inktober, day one complete. Mustache turned into milk mustache. And we'll have to wait and see what prompt is for tomorrow. I've managed to keep myself relatively unspoiled. Like, I've definitely, like, seen the graphic, but I tried really hard not to read anything, and then I managed to cover everything up without reading them. So I'm really not planning ahead, which is fun, I think, and the best way to go about it if you can manage to get the graphic kind of covered up for yourself. Welcome to Inktober Day 2, where I use my ink to write words instead of illustrations. We are still out on my back porch. I promise we're gonna go right in the park and right in the library and right in a cafe at some point during this, but for now, we're still at home. I do have a more fun drink today. You can't really tell, but I have a mango green tea. It's been in my collection for a while, so I'm not sure how stale it's going to be, but I guess we'll find out. So I started writing with this pen just to write like my title down, and it promptly died as well. So I've switched over to an orange pen, which seems juicy, and orange seems to be the kind of like perfect color to be using for Inktober. So I think that'll be okay. I'm gonna give myself a little bit more time today. I think I'm gonna do a 10-minute timer, which I forgot to set up, so let's do that right now. And I think just without further ado, I'm gonna get writing. Today's prompt is weave, and I'm going to hit start. I somehow wrote, I guess I wrote a little bit more. This one I felt a little bit harder to figure out what I was going to write about, and this was an interesting one because it kind of developed into something different as I kept writing, into the new idea, or like, it's not really different. I think I want to take kind of the concept that I have here and expand on it more, and not necessarily have this actual scene, if that makes sense. The first things I kind of wrote, like, I'll do this every time, and I don't know if I said this before, but I write down kind of like a couple of like words or phrases or ideas that kind of like immediately come to mind. And so for weave, I wrote basket, knitting, fate's fabric lies. And so I actually really like my first couple of sentences, because it brings up it basically just talks about like weaving a web of lies, and then immediately turns to someone who is crocheting because I prefer crocheting, but it might make more sense to knit. They're both technically a weave, or like not really. If you don't know much about fabric, it doesn't really matter. But by the time it got to the end of my writing, it definitely turned into something more magical realism than it was going to. with like kind of the idea of not magic, I suppose. And so I'd kind of like to run with that, I think, if I end up coming back to this one. But I guess that's it for Inktober Day 2. Thank you for joining me. I hope your Inktober is going well. I'd love to hear about how you've interpreted each of the things, and if you happen to be writing as well, I'd really like to hear about that. But also, I'd love to see what kind of illustrations our illustrator friends are doing, so definitely share those. Welcome to Inktober Day 3, where I use my ink to write words instead of draw illustrations. I am at the park today, rather than being out on my back stoop. So I'm going to find an unoccupied bench, get set up, and we're gonna go for it. That one looks pretty good to me. Look at the tree beside it. Okay, I wanted to try to get the tree in the background, but I don't think that this vantage point is gonna work very well, so I'm gonna move you down, but I tried. Okay, so he showed up before I got to write, so he might stand awkwardly in the back while I do this. But we have 5 minutes on the clock, and today's prompt is crown. Oh!
Wait, do I get to sit?
No, because I need to be, like, in the thing.
I sit here.
Well, let's try sitting. Yeah, that's fine. Just, like, don't. And here we go. Ow. Thank you. Sweet. That was really fucking weird. And I don't know what is going on with my nose. I think it's because we're outside. I usually do a little rundown after I write, if that's okay. So the prompt was crown, and for some reason the first thing that I thought of was tooth, followed by royalty, and then I just put then I said head. I thought that was part of this thing, head also, because like that's like the crown, which led me to what we actually went with, which was it fell down and broke his crown, like Jack and Jill, except he didn't fall down and break his crown. She bit into an apple and broke her crown, like her tooth crown, and had to go to the dentist. But that's not really what the story is going to be about. The story is about what's the group called for like AA and A, like a recovery group, support group. It's a support group for killers, not necessarily murderers, but our main character is a serial killer. But most of them are like crimes of passion, accidental deaths, that kind of thing. I have no idea where that's going to go, but I think it's the one that I've been most excited about so far. As far as we've only done 2 days prior to this, but this is the most exciting one so far. So stay tuned for Inktober Day 4 tomorrow. You can stop it now. Thank you. Welcome to Inktober Day 4, where I use my ink to write words instead of drawing illustrations. We are joined today by Campy the kitten for at least a short period of time, and we're obviously in a different location. We're at my house. Welcome to the Chaise Lounge. Um, I don't even know why I'm not outside. There's not any real reason for it. I don't think I have much else to do. And so, with that, where's my pen? Can't be. Oh, here it is. With that, let's get to writing. I originally put 5 minutes on the clock. Let's stick with it. We'll do 5 minutes on the clock, and today's prompt is murky. Let's go. So, murky. Murky water, of course, is the first thing that comes to most people's minds, but what does that really mean? Generally, it means unclear water. What else can be unclear? Your mind or your thoughts or whatever. And of course, I put these two things together, a murky mind from being dehydrated, stuck out in the woods of some sort. This is going a really interesting way. Basically, it's this person who has been left behind in the woods by their stepbrother, seemingly newly stepbrother, because they're wondering if this is some sort of hazing ritual because their family is super into like survival and camping and hiking and the great outdoors and all of these things. Or if the stepbrother's a homicidal maniac and has left them out here to die, or is like secretly hunting them maybe. Ooh, that's interesting. That hadn't come across my mind yet. That's technically an option as well. I'm gonna write that down. Hunting main character? Also option. Because, as I keep saying, my plan is to revisit a few of these at some point, the ones that I find particularly interesting and exciting, and perhaps turn them into something larger. I would like to get a lot of short stories written, and I think that this is a good way to kind of start coming up with the seeds of those. I feel like I'm not quite as excited about this one as I was yesterday's, but if I had to rank the four of them, it would go yesterday's and then today's as far as like excitement to come back to it and work on it some more. I do wonder if my brain will force me to write some notes about some of these as I go. I kind of wish I would have left room for that on all of them, but I have my ways of keeping my notebook organized so that I can easily flip between pages because I have multiple whips at the moment, and so depending on which one I work on, I'll use like page threading or something like that. I don't know how much of this is you're actually going to hear, but I'm rambling. And he got cuter, so it was a good thing that I rambled. But I think that's all I have to say about Inktober Day 4. I will be back tomorrow for Inktober Day 5, and then it will be my first weekend break, which is good because I do have events this weekend. I didn't mention this at the top. I got a heckin' wasp sting. I haven't had a wasp sting since I was like 10, and before that I was a wee babe, before I had any sort of wasp or bee sting. It hurts. I immediately put an ice pack on it, And I took an Advil probably about a half hour later because I didn't think of it until after I was done icing. It still hurts though. It's not like the worst pain in the world, but I do feel like that might be part of the reason that I'm a little bit flushed. I did also have a few panic moments while I was setting up for today. I kept moving the laptop, and then the whole like camera and light would fall. Uh, it was a mess. So I kind of freaked out a couple times. That might have also been the flushing. So if you notice that my face was particularly red, that's why. I also wasn't planning on sitting like this. I wish I would have brought a pillow. I was gonna sit like cross-legged, but then Canby showed up, and you can't disturb the cat, so that might have been my longest ramble. Sorry if I kept it all in and you had to listen to me ramble, but maybe you enjoyed it. This is meant to be kind of a writing vlog, I suppose. So like I said, see you tomorrow for Inktober Day 5. Yeah, bye!
Welcome to day 5 of Inktober, where I use my ink to write words instead of make illustrations. We're back on phase 1. Apparently, even with the blinds down, it's still very bright behind me, so I do apologize for that. I swear I have a light in front of me too that's supposed to be lighting me up, but it's struggling against the sun. Uh, I was gonna have a cheeky adult beverage today, but we ended up going to do some shopping. Uh, and so, of course, I got myself some Starbucks instead. This is the pumpkin cream cold brew. Uh, I know you're expecting me to, drink my thing at the cafe and do my Inktober there. That's still coming. I think I'll probably go to Bridgehead next week because there's some shopping that I want to do around Bridgehead. And so kind of like two birds, one stone. But I think I'm ready to get writing. I'm gonna put. Oh, I forgot to do the recording of writing Inktober Day 5. Hold on. Get to watch how the sausage is made. So I always do this part on my phone because it's just easier to get like an overview, I guess. And yeah, I do have like another thing, or like I do have a thing that I can hold my phone in to do this with, but who likes to do things the easy way? And let's see if I forget the K today, because I've forgotten it every day but one for some strange reason. God, can I remember the K? All right, let's get that timer up. Like I said, I'm gonna do a longer timer today. I did consider going for like a really long time today. Uh, and by a really long time, I mean going up to 15 minutes. But I feel like that might be getting a little too long for the videos that I plan to make out on this. We'll see. I haven't actually edited anything for the first video, so there may be some longer days coming. Without further ado, today's prompt is here. Let's hit start on that timer with 10 minutes, and I'll report back in. Alright, that is 9 minutes done. Somehow this turned into what I think could be a non-fiction piece. very, very strange. So with the prompt deer, the first things that came to my mind were antlers, rut, velvet, venison, prey. And I kind of ran with, I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'll throw in a picture, but I warn you, it is gory as heck. So I will give a visual and a verbal warning. So here it comes. And it's gone now. But it's an image of deer shedding their velvet, which is this like fuzzy coating on their antlers, and it looks terrifying. And this isn't like a perfect metaphor by any means, but I kind of talked about how like the quintessential prey animal, a la deer in headlights, can still look super badass sometimes, with it like tearing its velvet off. And then kind of like it was kind of like a pep talk to like the self of if that can it like if a deer can look super badass, then like even if I feel like prey, I can look super badass too, and looking the part, it makes you halfway there, fake it till you make it. And then just like the truth of myself that I have been a woman in a man's world a lot. Like a lot of like the things that I've enjoyed, or uh, the original career that I was kind of like the original career path that I was kind of on, male dominated, and so I kind of like took that and then ran with it, and it became like it ended up being that was like the past me, and that I have like kind of like become the badass that I wished I was when I was younger. And then how men in this kind of realistic world, which is why I feel like it would need to be to actually be nonfiction, but it's like these men are searching for a way to not come off as predators to women, and it's like the main character is like it seems like they're planning a speech of some sort, so it could be fiction, it could be nonfiction with some teeth. Definitely not where I thought deer would lead me. But I guess I am really trying to take these in like a very different direction. Like, I do feel like I'm making like a choice in not always writing horror. Although that being said, day 3 I think could end up horror. And I suppose day 2 could also be horror. Day 1 I have no idea what that is. But that's day 5. I will probably. I think this is going to be the end of the first video. I was originally going to do days 1 to 6 in the first video, but I realized that I'm going to do some sort of introduction. So this is already going to be a longer video than the other ones. And so I think I'm going to do 1 to 5 here, and then the last video will have 6 days in it. It's 5 days. So you're going to get 6 Inktober videos. But I'm probably going to come in, do an intro and an outro of some sort. And there's also going to be, I don't know exactly how I'm editing this. I don't know if I'm going to take these like after chats and kind of put those as the voiceover, or if these are just going to be reminders for writing a voiceover, or what's going to happen. I guess you already know that this is talking to or editing, perhaps. But also, maybe you'll still get to hear. But this is my first weekend break, so instead of seeing you tomorrow, I will see you on. Bye!
Let me know if any of these stories or prompts sparked something in you, and please remember to subscribe and dingle the bell so that you can be brought back for more. There will be 5 more Inktober vlogs, as well as some post-challenge content. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see from these vlogs in that post-challenge content, please let me know down in the comments. And if you're writing or drawing for Inktober, I would love to hear about how it's going for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun. I had a blast. Catch you next time. Bye. Oh, you're stuck. You're very cute. You don't usually come for pets right now. What's up? Candy, you are so cute. All stretched out for the camera.